Let's try this. Hello, everyone. Having some technical difficulties, but it's okay. We're going to get this. We're going to get through this. Okay. Okay. Let's try it. Try this one. All right. I think we're live. Yes, we are live. Woohoo! So I'm going to just make sure that this is working. It says we are on. So if you're watching, feel free to say hello and just let me know that you're with me. And we'll get started very soon. So give everyone a second to pop on and get on the live chat if you can. Say hello. Let me know where you're coming from. And we're also just going to let everybody know that we're live officially. Woohoo! So we did a webinar last week on connecting to give myself a second to get situated here. So we did a webinar last week, and that was really fun. So for those of you who didn't get to make that, the webinar replay is still actually up. So I would definitely check that out if I were you. And you can find that on my Facebook page. Go to Emily's facebook.com/Emily Stroya. And you'll see some of the videos that I've left up for you guys. And then also, if you go to my YouTube channel, you will find other videos as well. So definitely check out that stuff because those are all resources for you. And sometimes, just depending on the gauge of the interest, sometimes I leave some of them up, sometimes I don't. It just kind of depends, if there are webinars that are not really like what people are watching very much. Sometimes I just take them down and I just keep them for my own archives. So yeah, if you definitely haven't checked that out, I would recommend that you do. So welcome everybody. It looks like everyone's starting to pop on. So thanks for being on here. So we have people on the Facebook Live, and then we also have people on the YouTube Live. So that's really exciting. So thanks everybody for being here. So tonight's webinar is going to be on the keys to meditating with spirit. So if this is your first time on a live, definitely type in yes, or let me know this is your first time ever working with me. That way I know who's here. And then also share like where you're coming from, because that would definitely help me to just see where everybody is in the world. And it gives us an opportunity to connect with each other so that we can see how we're doing and get to know each other outside of the like online space. Sometimes we can literally be neighbors and not know it, right? So it's really cool to just be able to let each other know where we're coming from. And let me see if I can take a look at some of the comments here. So we have Colorado. Anyone else want to say where they're from? Chat? Anybody in the YouTube chat? Okay. So if you are on, feel free to say where you're from in the YouTube chat. And then we have people from Michigan, Oregon, Chicago. Wow, Chicago. I was just there a couple of weeks ago. Colorado. And I am in Los Angeles. Very exciting. So I've been doing webinars for years. I really started this journey in 2012, I want to say. Was it 2012? Yeah. It's a long time. Let me just make sure of that. I know I feel like I started in 2010, like really intensely studying, and then did my training and did a lot of training elsewhere. So it's been yeah, it's been a while, like at least 7 years, because I really started really in 2010, but I didn't start practicing professionally with people until 2012. So I spent a good couple of years kind of like off the grid with this work. And then my story is very different. You know, everyone's story is different. So I started off very much in the intuitive aspect of this work, and I was really curious about the intuitive parts of this work. I wanted to learn more on what it meant to be a psychic. I wanted to heal my life. I wanted to heal my past. I grew up in a very like unhealthy home environment, and I moved away from home when I was 16. I lived with another family, and I really had to sort of start over and heal from a lot of trauma. I lived and experienced trauma for, I mean, in the womb pretty much, right? So I was born into trauma, and even in the process of being a fetus and growing as a baby, I had experienced trauma in the womb. And so my journey for the last however many years that I've been here on earth has been an exploration of spirituality, of self-help, of dedication to healing, and commitment to me being the best, healthiest version of myself. And I find a lot of peace in the spiritual practices, and a lot of peace in, you know, exploring intuition, connecting to spirit, connecting to my inner truth, my intuition. And that's where I find the most profound healing. That's where I find the most answers, and explore it through yoga practice, like consistently every day. There's never a day I try to do it as almost every single day of my life. So I know that this work can be profoundly healing. It can be life-changing and transformational, if you allow yourself to explore it. So spirit is one of those facets of this work that we can explore and we can connect to as a tool that can be beneficial in us growing as humans here, but also like having more of a divine connection to the universe. So first of all, I want to just kind of talk a little bit about what spirit is, because we hear that word like all the time, right? Like if you're watching right now, when you hear the word spirit, what definition comes to mind for you? So if you're connecting to spirit, or you think about spirit, what does spirit mean to you? And feel free to share in the comments like what your ideas are here, because this isn't just, you know, my definition, it's also your definition. So feel free to share in the comments what you find spirit is for you. And for me personally, like I feel like spirit is tapping into the dimension of higher wisdom. It is a collective higher wisdom, where I can access some sort of truth or gain more perspective on my life or the consciousness of being here, from more of a 360-degree view versus just like a one-way view, right? So if we wake up every day and we just see the view in front of our house, we'll always know just that view. But if we get to sort of lift up out of that space and maybe, you know, we go to a higher plane, or we, you know, go to a rooftop, we might suddenly see the view of our city. And if we are in a plane, we can see the view of our state or of the country. So you can see how altering your perspective here and connecting to spirit gives us that opportunity to get a more whole view of life. So sometimes in the process, though, I know that for myself, I became a bit of like a spirit junkie, where in the first couple of years, really the first year or so, I thought that I fell in love so much with the work of spirit. I fell in love so much with connecting to energy that was completely different from me. So I wanted to learn more about how to connect to spirit loved ones. I wanted to learn how to connect to spirit guides. I wanted to learn everything about the other world dimensions that were not of this dimension of the life that I was living at that time. And I think that one of the reasons for that was because I was struggling so much emotionally that it felt so much more peaceful for me to be in the dimensions with spirit. As I've grown, this process of being with spirit is actually something very sacred and not to be abused. So when we talk about being with spirit, we're saying like being with your spirit, the essence of who you are, and also still knowing that you have this divine like connection to something that is outside of you, but also within you. We are the universe. We are connected to the universe. We have our bodies are this micro universe. So we are spirit, we are breath, and we also can connect to the universal concept of spirit as well. So we can connect to potential intelligence. It could be a spirit loved one. It could be an animal. It could be the plant intelligence. It really is just being able to connect to the energy of something also outside of you. Does that make sense to everybody? So if you have any questions, I'm just reading the comments here. And then, so for the purposes of today's webinar, though, I want to talk about connecting to spirit in the sense of a guide or a teacher or a loved one. So spirit, in terms of this webinar tonight, is the definition of connecting to a teacher, connecting to a guide, connecting to a spirit loved one, or even an animal. So we have that ability to be able to connect to the intelligence of the supernatural. And I think that some of us have this concept that, you know, that's only for a medium. But I don't think so. I feel like everyone has the opportunity to go into meditation and have conversations with intelligence. And some of that energy may feel as if you've created it, or you made it up, or it's your imagination. And some of it will be channeled information from something completely foreign from you. This isn't like you created it all yourself. You were the tool and the instrument to receive whatever it was that this person in spirit wanted to give you. So has anyone had that kind of experience where they have had some type of meditation, where they were in meditation and connected to a spirit loved one, or connected to a spirit teacher or guide, or got some sort of information that helped them on their journey in their life? Whether it was just to live easier, maybe it was a tool to heal wherever you were, maybe it was a symbol or a message from your loved one letting you know that they were around. What did that look like for you? And feel free to share in the comments, like, what was that for you? Was it a message? Was it a symbol? Was it a feeling? How did that get expressed to you in your meditation? So meditation is an ancient practice, right? This isn't something new. Like it's so popular now. It's so fad. Like this is a trend, right? Like meditation is something that people are getting into. There's studies done on how powerful meditation can be for the mind, how powerful it can be for stress, how powerful it can be for emotional healing and relief. There is so many benefits to meditating, and there are so many purposes for it. So there's so many styles to meditating. There are so many ways that we can use this tool to our advantage. And one of them is to connect to spirit. So one of them is to connect with a teacher or a guide or an animal or a spirit loved one. Spirit loved ones can be your relatives. Spirit loved ones can be someone who you didn't get a chance to get to know, and they passed away before you had the opportunity to get to know them. And then suddenly you start to build a relationship with them in the spirit world or in your meditation. I want to take those two words out for a second. You can get to know your spirit loved one in your meditative practice. So cultivating a meditative practice is actually a key, one of the golden keys to not only you feeling good about yourself, to feeling better about yourself, to living more of a healthier, having a healthier mindset, but also a gate, like a golden key, and I can't think of the word right now, but it is a door to connect to or bridge you between the reality that you live in and also the intelligence within you, and potentially move your awareness to completely different consciousness of existence where you can feel and connect to spirit. Any questions so far on this? I hope if you have any, please let me know. And I'm just reading some of the comments here. People are sharing that they connect to their guides, their angels in the universe. Anyone else have anything they want to share? I'm just reading comments here. Higher self. Cool. So if you have anything you want to share or any questions about this, just feel free to type it in the box, in the chat box. And there's more information for you. If you haven't already, I would definitely recommend checking out my book, Talking to Spirit. It's a really good tool too, as well, to like kind of understand more about how spirit connects with you. This is the book, by the way. There you go. So you can get it on Amazon, but it's there as a tool and a resource for you as well, which I like to make books that are resources for people, because like at the end of the day, like you'll have this webinar, but you'll always have like a book there in your, your library, and so you'll have that opportunity to come back to it. So some of the keys to connecting to spirit, first of all, are one, willingness. So your mind wants something to do. Like your mind wants to have a purpose. And when it has purpose, it feels fulfilled. It feels like, okay, I'm winning at life. So when you're sitting down to meditate, and I know that some of you guys will struggle with meditation, which is totally fine. There are a million tricks and tools for that. One style of meditating may just not work for you, but it does not mean that you suck at meditating. It just might mean that particular way of meditating just doesn't work for you. I know for me, like, my teacher, one of my teachers was like, well, you're going to sit in silence and do a mantra meditation. That worked for me for a while. And sometimes I still do meditate on a mantra, but it wasn't like the only style for me. So and then there was like the silent meditations. I would switch it up. So every day I might try another tool. So I could do a silent meditation one day for 5 minutes. Then the next day I would do a mantra meditation. Then the next day I might do a walking meditation. The next day I might just kind of do a cycle here. So I'd have sort of a schedule of different styles of meditations. And that was my tool. Those are my tools that I do. So it may not always be that you stick to one style of meditating to connect to spirit. Guided meditations are so fantastic. Like, I'm a huge fan of them. I think listening to guided meditation one day and then switching it up and trying to meditate on your own for at least 5 minutes is powerful. Even if you feel like your mind is wandering in those 5 minutes, it's information for you to see where your thoughts are going. So the process is to start to clear out those thoughts or have a relationship to them, because as you build a healthier relationship to the thoughts you're having, they won't have so much power over your meditation practice. So they won't have such a place in your space, in your mental space, that they live there while you're trying to still your mind. It's like, imagine if you have a friend who's over who keeps trying to talk to you when you're like, hey, you know what, I'm going to go and like be, by myself right now. I'm going to take a moment to just be quiet. And you need that moment of prayer, or you need that moment of quiet, and then your friend keeps interrupting you. Like, those are the thoughts that live inside of our heads. Even in the meditation practice, we see what those thoughts are. So you might start off with meditating with a guided meditation one day, and then the next day practice doing a quiet meditation, and start to just journal what your thoughts are on those days and notice your pattern. Like, what are some of the thoughts that keep coming up? And then start working with it. What are the thoughts? Like, what is the source of those thoughts? Is it worry? Is it fear? Is it anxiety? It's okay. Notice it and then just start to build a relationship on it. So the first thing is definitely having a willingness to meditate. Willingness to meditate is key. Like, just saying, I am willing to meditate with spirit today, having that intention is important. So I am willing, setting yourself up to consciously and subconsciously embed that in yourself. So I'm willing sets you up for success, because you already know that you have a willingness, and when we have willingness, we are absolutely ready to do anything that we need to do to create what we want to create, right? Have you ever thought about times in your life when you're like, I'm so willing to do that? Like, I'm willing to, and I'm open to how I can do it, right? Because that's the next part of it. So the second key to meditating with spirit is having an open mind. So sometimes people will tell me, well, I was willing, I sat down, I meditated, and nothing happened. Okay, that's fine. Like, we don't need spirit to shake the house for us to experience spirit. What we just need to have is an open mind. So rather than sitting there and like waiting for something to happen to you, allow your imagination to guide you on this experience. So, if you asked yourself the question, well, who do I want to connect with in spirit today? Or spirit, guide me right now to just feeling you, to knowing you, guide me to know you more. Having that thought and sending that thought out into the universe and connecting to spirit with this idea of let me know you more, gives you that idea, gives you an open mind to just experience however you might experience spirit. And you might not even feel like anything. Most of the time, I'll tell you this, when I first started meditating and connecting with spirit, I was like waiting for something big to happen. And I was like, oh my God, I had these feelings and these thoughts, but like nothing really happened. What was happening was those feelings and those thoughts, but I was discounting them and throwing them out like, oh, that's nothing. But those were actually those thoughts and those feelings and little pictures or symbols or, kind of feelings of somebody there maybe. But just my ego thinking I was making it up, got in the way of me developing a relationship to listening. So that brings me to the next key, which is listening, like letting yourself be still enough to listen to the information that you're getting in meditation with spirit. So when you're setting that willingness, you have an open mind. Now, the next part is listening. Like, just listen to what is going on. Listen to what is going on in your body. Listen to what is going on emotionally. Listen to what is going on in thought-wise. Listen to what's going on in your clairs. So we all have these intuitive senses where we have visions, where we hear things, where we smell things, where we feel things in our body, emotionally. Just take notice of like, how is your experience of being in meditation shifting, if anything? And it might be just tiny, tiny glimpses of information. And some days it may very well be nothing at all. And that's okay too. You just had the opportunity to quiet and still your mind. Notice what's going on in your mind, even in those moments of quietness, though. Again, because what you're doing is you're sort of clearing out the filter of junk. And you're saying, hey, I'm open to talking. I want to connect. I want to chat. So anyone have anything they want to share? Is this information resonating with you? If so, feel free to say yes, or just like give me a thumbs up or something. Because I like to know that this information is resonating with the people that are on the live webinar. So, and make sure you can even write this down, like have notes. But keys to meditating with spirit: willingness, an open mind, listening, and then the next part is discipline. So part of the meditation practice for you to see results really is discipline. Discipline, discipline, discipline. I know that that word seems like kind of like harsh. I know, because I sometimes struggle with that. I'm like, oh God, I feel like it's a chore. And it might feel like a chore sometimes, you know? But can you remember a time when you did your chores and you actually liked doing your chores, and then some days you groaned at the thought of doing it? Like, right, we're not always going to like it. We're not always going to be inspired by it. We're not always going to feel great. But there is a beauty to being disciplined in our practice. So if you are disciplined in the sense of time, like maybe you give yourself 5 minutes every day to meditate with spirit. Maybe you are disciplined in the sense that you are committed to the practice, doing whatever it takes to make sure that you at least meditate in some type of way every day, whether it's sitting meditation, walking meditation, guided meditation, writing meditation, hearing and quiet meditation. That's your discipline. That's your discipline and your commitment to your practice. And discipline, again, gives us results. So you ever like have a practice in your life where like you go a few days without doing it, and then suddenly you feel just not yourself? That for me is like yoga and meditation. Like if I'm not writing or having a moment of quietness to myself with spirit, or in my practice, dedicating my practice, my yoga practice, to connecting to spirit, then I start to feel like I'm not in my center anymore, because that is a part of my center. That's the part of my home that I come back to within myself. So discipline will give you results. The next key is intention. So I just said to you that when I go into yoga practice, sometimes I have the intention to connect to spirit in my yoga practice. You can literally do this with anything. You could go and wash your dishes right now and have the intention to connect to spirit while you're washing your dishes. You can go and take a shower and have the intention to connect to spirit while you're taking a shower. You can go for a walk and have the intention to connect to spirit while you're on your walk. You can go and drive your car, not going to go like super dangerous here. Like you can go for a drive and just have the intention to receive from spirit while you're driving, but not in the sense of like, obviously you're going to put your life in danger and go on a daydream and be completely disconnected from your experience. But it could be a song that comes on the radio, or something you hear on a podcast that you're listening to. Whatever it is, there might be something there for you. The intention behind connecting to spirit can happen anywhere at any point. It can happen in a conversation with your loved one tonight. It can happen tomorrow morning when you start your day. The intention is to connect with spirit. So intention is a statement. It is, what am I creating with this moment right now? Moment to moment to moment to moment. What am I trying to create? Because you are a co-creator with spirit. We are co-creators with spirit. Because why? Because we are spirit. So we are breath. We are a microcosm of a universe. And so we have the power very much also to co-create with the universe, with spirit, with our loved ones, and set intentions behind everything we do, so that we can receive and connect and come back to this magic of knowing that there is truth and there is wisdom in every experience. And that's where we start to build the wholesome flow and holistic way of living, which is all very much like soul-aligned life, soul-aligned living. So I'm just taking a look here and seeing what people are saying. Any questions so far? So if you have anything you'd like to share, feel free to share now in the chat box. And then I'll be happy to just answer whatever it is you want to ask. Okay, so the next key is protection. So protection is an interesting word. Sometimes we like associate something negative with it, right? Protection, because if we don't have protection, we could be threatened. If we don't have protection, something dangerous could happen to us. There's a fear kind of association with the word protection. However, protection is very simply just a tool to create prevention, to create safety, to create a container. It's kind of like, you know, you get up in the morning, you put your clothes on. That's sort of a form of protection, right? You may have certain gear for whatever you're doing outside. That's a form of protection. You have insurance on your car. That's a form of protection because it's prevention. And we have boundaries. Boundaries in relationships, boundaries with ourselves, boundaries with the world. Why? Because it's a form of protection. Boundaries remind us of what we're worthy of. Boundaries remind us of what we're willing to tolerate. Boundaries remind us also of what we are not going to tolerate. And so protection with spirit is very much the same thing. I don't want to get this confused though, because sometimes people, when they start practicing with spirit, they're like, oh my God, like I'm going to get a bad spirit attached to me. Truly, if you have a negative spirit attached to you, it may not necessarily be somebody who's passed away. This could be just somebody's energy in your life that's attached to you, that you're allowing to disrupt your well-being. Can you think of a time in your life when you didn't have enough self-respect, or you didn't value yourself in a highly regarded way, and so you let people push your boundaries, and you had unhealthy relationships with people, or had an unhealthy relationship with someone, and it interfered in your happiness, it disrupted your well-being, because you gave your power away. And maybe at that point you didn't realize what your power was. And so it was a process through these relationships for you to realize what your power is, what it means to express your truth, what it means to express your voice, what it means to what kind of people you want in your life, what kind of people are you attracting and allowing to stay. Because there's a difference between attracting a negative spirit and then allowing that negative spirit to stay. Same thing with a person. What's the, you know, every person we come and we cross paths with. We might attract somebody, you know, walking down the street who is negative. We might meet somebody out at an event and they're a little off. Maybe they're just a little unbalanced, or they're struggling. And so this happens with empaths a lot. You know, there's this compassion that comes out, and this almost like holding the space and trying to rescue the person from their own misery. And in turn, we end up going down with them because we're not strong enough to be, you know, somebody else's rescuer. The only thing you can do is have boundaries here. So not everybody that you come in contact with are you going to be friends with. You may have a relationship with them that's an acquaintanceship. You may have a student-teacher, like a teacher-student relationship with them. You may be colleagues with this person, but you don't necessarily, you're not inviting them over for dinner. So remember that protection is important in the terms of what are you allowing to happen. Can you have tools for protection with spirit? Yes, absolutely. One of my favorite tools is burning Palo Santo. Love it. If you don't have it, get some. It's great, great, great. It's like sage, but it's just, I love it. I love the smell of it. I love the way it makes me feel. I love the way it changes the energy in a room. If you're like in a classroom where you have people over for a party and you just want to burn it after, like as everyone's winding down and relaxing, you can just burn it like incense. No big deal. It's really wonderful. It's very clearing. It's really nice. And so if you're meditating with spirit, like maybe you burn a little bit of Palo Santo before you meditate, or even as you finish your meditation and you close your meditation, you burn some Palo Santo. It's such a beautiful, beautiful incense. Like it's a sweet wood, and it's old. It's very primitive, and I like it. You can get sage. You can get protection oil. You can say even a prayer of protection. You can create your own prayer of protection. It doesn't have to be a religious prayer. It can just be whatever your heart wants to say, you know, like spirit guide me, protect me from any negative energy, keep me safe in this practice with you. Boom. You can visualize a bubble of light. You can imagine that you are in a tube of light, and that's your container, that's your safe space. Those are some tools for you. So let me just see if there's anyone. Okay, so I'm just opening it up here. I'd like to hear, I'm not sure if the comments froze or if people are quiet and just taking it in. But if you're watching now, feel free to say something. Let me know that you're with me. And let me know if you have any questions about anything so far. So how is this information resonating with you? Are you finding it to be helpful? Is there anything that is very unique in the experience of hearing this? Like, talk to me. I don't know if things froze online, but if you are on the Facebook Live or in the chat box, tell me what you think of the keys. How are these keys resonating with you? Is there anything that you're learning in terms of tools that you're going to take away from this and apply to your practice with meditating with spirit? So we have some people saying Palo Santo gives me a migraine, unfortunately. Oh, yeah, well, so exactly. See, these are ideas for you. But just like I said, you can try on the tools and then you can put them down, and then you have like an array of tools for yourself. You can also get like Palo Santo spray. I also like the rose water spray. That just feels really nice. Sometimes it feels like really refreshing after meditating to just spray some rose water, and it kind of like lifts my spirits even more. What else is there? Sage is a great tool. Trying to ground after meditation is also really nice. I would recommend even trying some yoga poses after meditating. Like if you can stand in mountain pose, if you Google mountain pose, that would be good. Even just standing firmly on, like stand up and just firmly plant your water. I mean, I'm like reading somebody's comments. Plant your feet firmly in the ground and just ground into the floor is really nice. Like take in like 5 breaths and ground into the floor. Go for a walk after and breathe, like come into your breath after meditating with spirit. These are all just really interesting keys to use. Burning candles is really nice as well. Finding a candle that works for you is also cool. And then there's some other suggestions people are sharing. So yeah, so if you have other tools that you also want to share in terms of protection or even clearing, feel free to share those. Someone else is saying playing music. So yeah, you can also play soft music. You can, someone said the rose water is really good idea. Yeah, rose water is so nice. I love it. The other one, lavender oil is great. Lavender oil is also very soothing. So if you get lavender oil, you might want to do that like after you're done with your meditation practice, because it's just like kind of a way to calm down, soothing the mind, soothing the nervous system. I would probably do that like at night. If I was meditating at night, I might want to do that. Salt lamps, by the way, are really cool. So if you have a salt lamp, like a Himalayan salt lamp, that might be really nice to get, just as like kind of an environmental thing to create in your space. So that's the other part of this, is creating a sacred space to connect with spirit. So, you know, intention can be to sit and connect with spirit, but if you're, you don't have a lot of time in the day, maybe you just go for a short walk and you set the intention that you want to connect with spirit in your walk, and be open to receiving. One of the coolest meditations that I love is doing a nature walk, where I'll go for a walk maybe with my dog, and I'll ask spirit to show me something I've never seen before, or to reveal something new to me, or I'll go in search of just like maybe something that I connect to in earth. So it might be a rock, it might be a flower, and I'll just kind of like let my intuitive senses and spirit guide me to whatever it is that is calling me. And so it might be like a stone I find. Like I found this rock and I just loved it. And then I sat with it and I meditated with it. Another tool is just going outside and like hugging a tree. Not even joking. I've done that, and I do that still sometimes. I'll go and I hug the trees in my neighborhood, and I really love them. They are really beautiful. Like I love them so much. But they're just really special. Like trees are really special. Trees are so amazing. So if you have the opportunity to sit with a tree, sit and connect to the tree's spirit, it's awesome. It's really cool. Even going to the beach or sitting by a lake is really, really, really nice too. So those are some tools. Okay. Thank you for sharing. This is very helpful. Palo Santo is a great idea. I have some. I've never burned it. Oh my God. No. I thought sage was preferred. No, you can do either. Honestly, like they're both fantastic. This is the thing. You'll hear like all kinds of tools, like this is the right one. And honestly, like I used to think like that too. I was like, oh, this must be like, this is the one to do. Then I realized, I'm like, wait, but like just because it works for that person doesn't mean that works for me in spirit. So I like to, burn sage sometimes, maybe once in a while I'll burn it. I prefer Palo Santo. I like to burn it at least once a week. Yeah, I just ran out, so I know I need to get some more. But it's what works for me in my practice. So you create your meditation practice with spirit. You create it. It is your free-flowing baby. Like this is your creation. And spirit will support you any which way. Like that's the beauty of it, is that spirit will manifest and co-create this experience with you. As long as you have your keys in place, you have the scaffolding, right? You have the scaffolding of what that meditation practice looks like for you every time you do it. And you can change it as you go. Like maybe your protection is a prayer one day, and then maybe it's just a visualization of light around you the next day. Maybe you need a lot more one day than you need another day, maybe because you're already in very high spirits. And so you don't feel as if you need so much of that, right? So it changes as you're also changing and flowing. So this is your practice. You design it. I would stick with something, again, discipline, stick with some basics, and then play with that, and then change it up. So I'd like to do a brief meditation, and I would love to do this with you. So if you are open to meditating with me, type in yes. Okay. And then we will close. Excuse me. Okay. All right, okay. Let me make sure this is off. Okay. Okay. All right. We're ready to go. Great. Okay. So let's get going. So go ahead and get comfortable in your seat. In the yoga practice, it's so important, the concept of finding a seat. So finding a seat means to find your center and wherever you're sitting, enough so that you can be comfortable for at least the next 10 minutes. And give yourself the opportunity to start to move your awareness into your breath. Drop your shoulders. Drop your energy down to your core, all the way down to your sitting bones, and start to notice how you're sitting. Is there somewhere in your body that you can create more space for yourself? Somewhere where you can open your heart, open your chest. Allow your shoulders to relax. Allow your head to be an antenna to the universe. And anchoring down into your sitting bones and plugging your feet firmly on the floor. Can you allow yourself to have space in your body and also in your breath? And remembering that this practice is ancient, that the sages have done this for centuries, for years. We have moved into a place of space, finding the rhythm in our breath and withdrawing our senses from the outside world. Like a turtle, we move within. And so begin to create that image in your mind of being the turtle. And start to bring yourself inside, into the temple, the seat of your soul. And let yourself be guided to the seat of your soul. And continuing that process of withdrawing your senses, letting go of the attachment to the chatter of the mind. Becoming weightless. That there's nothing left to hold on to. That now is the time for you to go inside. Just as we used to once before. When dusk came, we went inside and we went into our caves. And so now is that time for you. So begin to call on the ancient mystics, angelic beings of light, the guides of the universe, the intelligent force of energy that we breathe, that is always around us. Beginning to take notice of how you are also a microcosm of the universe. And that your cells are little stars. And remembering to set that intention, announcing that you are willing, surrendering, and being open. Listening with your inner ears and feeling with your heart. And invite Spirit to come forward and connect with you and to meet you in the sacred home of your soul. And expanding your microcosm of a universe and imagining that it grows and expands into the heartbeat of the universe. There is no overthinking here, just being. You don't need to be anything else but you, because you are enough fully here right now. And so we call on Great Spirit. We call on our higher self. We call on the light beings that guide us. And we ask to learn more. And in your heart, send a message and ask how you can know Spirit more. Perhaps there is a teacher or a guide or a loved one who wishes to connect with you. Invite that mentor, invite that spirit to step forward and to be with you. Remembering to ask the question, how can I know you more? Show me what it is that I need to know. Teach me. Guide me. So I'll give you a moment to sit with your spirit loved one. And when you are ready, know that it's time. And so thank your spirit loved one. Express gratitude to Spirit for the efforts to be seen, to be heard, and to be felt by you. Express gratitude to yourself for your efforts to connect, to be still, to listen, and to let yourself be free. And begin to bring your awareness back into your body, knowing that you never really left your body to begin with. That your body is actually just an expansion of the universe, and so you only just grew bigger. And feeling the weight, feeling yourself, feeling the tangibleness of this room that you're in. Being greeted by the breath. And greeting your breath. Acknowledging the miracle that you are. And so take in one deep, long inhale in. Exhale out. Inhale in and imagine the image of a tree. Exhale out and imagine those tree roots growing deep into the earth. Inhale in and imagine that the sun rises. Exhale out and imagine the sun setting. And when you're ready, bring your hands in front of your heart and bow your head in gratitude for all the things. Namaste. Okay, and when you're ready, just feel free to say hi. Welcome back. That was so good. Oh, wasn't that so good? I feel like super tingly and warm and happy. What a cool practice. So share with me, friends, what this was like for you. What happened? What came up? Where are you? And yeah, give some feedback. Feedback is really important. So, how did anybody want to share anything? So, really good stretch. If you want, bring your hands up in front of your head. Just bring them up and down. And maybe like stretch your head, move it side to side. You stretch your hips and just kind of like get into your body a little bit and then switch the rhythm of it. And then remember how I said one of the tools you can do when you're closing down for meditation with spirit is also standing. So if you want, you can give yourself that opportunity to just like kind of put your feet on the floor and stand and like really ground into your body, you know? So that's just a nice thing to do, is like stand maybe after this, go for a little walk, like maybe spritz some rose water. You can always burn the Palo Santo. Journal your experience. That's a really good tool. Journaling your experience. Journal what you felt, journal what you saw. Maybe you didn't have anything, but you did it anyway. So acknowledging that. What kind of thoughts were you having? Were you doubting yourself? Were you doubting the practice? Were you analyzing it the whole time? Just notice. So I see that there are some people on the webinar, so please don't be shy. Definitely give some feedback. There's no right or wrong experience, nothing stupid that happens. So if you're in your head about it, I would suggest to get out of your head and connect, because it will give you validation of your own experience. And you get to get guidance from me on the live, because I don't do webinars a lot, not as much as I used to. So it gives you some opportunity to get some feedback, you know. Let's see. So somebody's sharing, this experience was very visual for me, which is unusual. I felt tingles on my feet. Very cool. Yeah, it's very nice. So clairvoyance and clairsentience. So we have, sounds like you had a physical reaction, physical sensations, and also some clairvoyance opening up. Very cool. Just felt love. Very wonderful. That's a high vibration to feel. So sounds like you went into a really beautiful, safe space. Somebody had a new guide show up, so that's exciting. Anybody else want to share anything? Yeah. Okay. Well, if there is nothing else to say, this wraps up our live training. Someone's sharing, I had a man with long hair wearing a leather jacket. That sounds cool. Then saw a quick glimpse of a red door in an old world looking doorway. So I would suggest definitely maybe researching that image, seeing if you find some sort of picture that represents that. You might actually be tapping into some ancient history there, so something to explore. Maybe that man is a guide of yours. He sounds really cool, whoever he is. Reminds me of like those biker dudes. I had this image of interesting, like I saw a lot of angel wings in front of me. And they were actually like as if somebody had set them down in front of me and said, these are for you to bring back to the world. And they were different colors. So one was like red angel wings. They were like the colors of the rainbow. And it just felt really nice. It was like they were gifts from spirit to the people on the webinar. Yeah, which is really neat. So you get your angel wings from spirit, which is pretty cool. I love that. I love that. Oh, well, this wraps up our live training for tonight. Thank you so much for being on here. If you have been on here for the full hour, it's been an honor to serve you and to share with you this magical work. Again, these are tools for you to come back to, maybe there was something that you got from tonight's training that you didn't have before. Maybe it reaffirmed some things for you. Whatever it was, sit with it and receive it, because that's what it's there for, is to be received. Practice this meditation, again, with discipline and focus. Try it. I think we meditated for about 10 minutes, but it felt much longer for me. So I don't know about for you, but definitely felt like I was like, phew, out there. If anyone has any questions, you can go to my website, emilystroya.com. Shoot me an email. I'm there to connect with you. The replay will also be up and sent out to everyone. If you're interested, definitely get on the mailing list. You can go to my website for that. And my mentorship program is opening up soon. So if you're interested in being mentored for 9 months, that's a great opportunity. And I'm working with a very beautiful group of women now, and it's been really amazing watching them grow. So if that's something that appeals to you, that will start coming into the new year, and you'll get an email as well. I'm taking very select few people because I want to make the maximum amount of impact. And the mentorship program is not for like large groups of people in an online space, at least. So yeah, it's a cool program. We meet bi-weekly, and you get videos and meditations, and you practice with each other, and you learn how to do this for yourself. You learn how to do this for other people. You learn how to be a spiritual teacher and intuitive leader. And so if that's something that appeals to you, feel free to reach out and shoot me an email. I'd love to work with you. And again, I'm taking a very small amount of students, so it's going to be under 12. So yeah, so that's it. The angels, that's what they are. These people that I work with, they're angels. And I'll post a link in case you're interested too. So I think I have it. I don't know. Do I have it? It's somewhere. Oh, here it is. Yeah, if you want to get on the waiting list, it's there. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being on the webinar. So on Thursday, we have another one. What's the other one? I think on Thursday, it's Healing from the Past. Yes. Thursday, there'll be another webinar on healing from the past. We'll be doing a meditation for that. Super excited. One of my favorite topics to talk about. All of it is. So we'll be talking about healing from the past. I'll be talking about my own journey with healing from the past and what that still looks like today. And so if that's something that appeals to you, definitely get on the email list. You'll also get a link to the actual live YouTube. So, and I posted the link for the mentorship program. If you're interested, you can get on the wait list. And there's a select amount of applications for that. I'm only taking up to 12 students for the mentor program. So that sums up for tonight. I'll see you Thursday. Have an amazing evening. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions. EmilyStroya.com is the website. I'm super grateful for you. Hey, look at that. There's 12 people on the live. Oh, how cool. I just got like all the goosey bumps. That was cool. I looked up and there I saw the number 12 and I was like literally just talking about 12 people in the mentor program. So yeah, so the universe is letting everybody know there's only 12 spots. I love that. All right. See you guys on Thursday. Have a great evening. And that's it. Bye.